Hey guys, and welcome back. Instead of hiding, I've actually spent the last 6 weeks working on the Grumman, like every day between work and every evening after work and so on and so forth. It's been a lot of cutting, welding, grinding, reassessing, tearing back apart, and redoing. We even had a small fire, but I've gotten a lot done aside from everything, and I want to show you. Come over here, check this out. Hey everybody, and welcome back. This is my 1985 Grumman-Olson Kubvan DL120 failed prototype mail truck. Over the last 3 weeks, I have been putting this thing back together after the last video where I tore it apart. In that time, I've realized that this thing is more of a parts bin special than I ever thought, even down to the headlight switch, which of course didn't work. Well, after a lot of poking around and cross-referencing, well, images, this is a headlight switch borrowed from a 1965 GMC truck. Never would have guessed that, but that's what it is. And that wasn't the only thing. The brake hoses, for example, are from a 1963 Volkswagen Beetle. The fronts specifically fit every corner of this van, but they only fit the vans with the low floor, much like this one. So it's a ton of stuff to keep straight, and there's other things than just those two examples, but that's the gist of it. So it's been taking a long time to figure out how everything goes together and what I have to buy. So without me telling you what I've done, let me show you what I've been up to for the last 3 weeks. This is the fuel tank out of the van, and I almost didn't pull it out, but I'm really happy that I did because, drum roll please, it's got a hole in it. Damn it. I really should just have a new tank either built or try to make one myself, but I'm gonna try to fix this instead, which is about last pick to be honest, but my plan is to cut it and just graft in a new piece, and we'll see how that goes.
White snow, red sky, reach up for so high, blue eyes, fake cry, beware of the fox tonight. Dark rain, my blood in your frozen veins. Dream high, no pain.
So after spending the majority of yesterday resealing everything and putting this engine back together, it's just about ready to go in the van. But if you remember back to a few videos ago, I talked about the driver's side engine mount being bent pretty badly, and I still don't really know what happened to this, but as far as I can tell, this is unsavable. I tried to bend it back and it's just not having it. So I posted in the Facebook Kubvan group, and yes, that does exist, and a member chimed in and actually built me a brand new mount. Chase Coward, if you're watching this, dude, thank you so much. This is a gorgeous piece, and this is a huge help. So let's put it in. I'm pretty sure this entire Kubvan was put together with basic grade 5, like 5/16 bolts. And that's exactly what I'm gonna use to put this back on with. So there's 6 of them, and these holes are just relief cuts for these rivets in the body. Otherwise, it's just basic, you know, just like that. And then I'm gonna use a nylock and another washer, just flat washer on the back. Easy peasy. Oh yeah, it's pretty much perfect. tighten these up. We'll be on the way. This engine is ready to go in. I spent the majority of yesterday working off camera to try and make this happen, and it's done. So I guess it's time to put it in, and I can finally figure out so many things like hose routing and wire routing that I could only think about prior to now. So I guess let's just put it in. Wow, okay, where to start? What I usually do with Mark 1s and such is I'll put a strap around the front bumper and pull the entire front end of the van, truck, whatever, up, which allows me to slip the engine under the thing and then lower the body back down and then pull the engine up into place. That's generally the easiest way to do it, but yeah, screw it, let's see what happens. Oh, that's sketchy. Wow. I think I've got plenty of room for like everything, but that's me, baby, jumping into the future, because I have successfully managed to drag this video out for months at this point. Initially, I think I said 3 weeks at the beginning of this video, and now it's been like 9 weeks, so sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened. So here's the deal. I have done a ton of work off camera to this van. Now you can probably tell from this scene alone that this engine bay is way more complete from the last scene of this video alone, where I was putting the engine in the van for the first time. Basically what I've done in the meantime is I've run the entire engine harness. The ECU is mounted on the inside of the firewall, so under the dash. My buddy Ricky and I cut a hole in the floor, which was really painful, but that also means the shifter is mounted, the shift cables are run, everything's correct, everything works. The radiator is mocked up. I have a couple hoses that I've started, piecing together for the cooling system, so things really are moving along. Now, earlier in this video, you saw where I patched the fuel tank because there had a little rust hole in it. I ended up doing not 1, not 2, but 3 patches on the fuel tank because although it only really had 1 rust hole, there were other spots where it was getting really thin. So I just patched every corner, well, 3 out of the 4 corners, and then put it back in. And it's had diesel in it now for like probably a month, and it hasn't leaked anything. So I think we're good to go there. Now at this point, I have not started this engine in the van yet, but that will change today. Hopefully, that's the plan. So basically what I have to do is mount the Mark IV style fuel filter in the engine bay somewhere, and then route my soft fuel lines from my hard steel fuel lines to the filter, and then from the filter to the injection pump. So basically, this is like every other thing on this van. It's like, here is a component, now figure out a place to put it. And then I have to take, this is like out of a Beetle, I think. So it has this really awkward, like awkwardly shaped bracket. I have to cut this off and then weld a plate to this factory fuel filter bracket that I can bolt either to the inner fender here, maybe up here. I have no idea yet. And that's what we're gonna figure out right now, because once this is in and plumbed up, we can actually start this thing for the very first time. So. obviously this is not a very complicated thing. I just trimmed up the original fuel filter bracket and added a plate to the back with 3 holes in it that I can bolt to the chassis of the Grumman. So definitely not brain busting kind of fab work here, but this should do it. I'm not a great TIG welder, so please don't judge my welds too harshly, but this will definitely work. So I'm gonna throw a little paint on it and put it on. All right, well, the fuel filter is in place. It's half-acidly plumbed up enough to see if it'll run. And that's what I'm really curious about. So at this point, I have to bleed the fuel system. So basically using this hand vacuum pump on the return side of the injection pump, I'm gonna pull fuel from the tank, up the new lines, through the old filter, through the pump, which I had apart. I resealed the pump, and I guess we'll see how good of a job I did, because it was leaking pretty bad before. So I'm a little nervous about that, but so yeah, let's go ahead and do it. We'll just go ahead and pick the scab. You guys should be able to see the fuel pool in that little vacuum canister. So. Oh, I hear it. It just sounds really bubbly and like, I don't know if you guys can hear that. Oh, there it is. Holy hell. All right, well, that's something. This will make a big old fat mess when I pull my finger off of this. Ugh. I also probably should have put a camera in the engine bay so you guys could see this happen, but sorry. So the fuel system is primed, well, at least to the pump. So, oh my God, I'm genuinely nervous about this. So yes, I resealed the injection pump. It has a new used turbo on it. I did the timing circuit, and there's a ton of stuff that's new and, you know, ready to go on this engine. So I'm a little bit nervous about starting it, but I gotta pick that scab at some point, so it may as well be now. Yeah, we'll just go for it. We'll just go for it. Now, it's not gonna fire right up immediately because there is air in all of the injector hard lines from the pump. So I probably should crack those. Pretty spry. Nothing leaking everywhere, not yet anyway. All right, we'll crank on her again. Yes! Woo! Yes! Yes! Ha ha ha! Oh yeah! Yes! All right, let's see if it shuts down. Yes! Woo! Oh, that is fantastic. So now that we know that it runs, I'm going to go back underneath and hook up the vane actuator on the turbo to make sure that's operating as it should. And then hopefully we can capitalize on that VNT 15 whistle, which is super loud. So let's see what we got. So I'll fire it back up and hopefully it'll be whistling just like any other ALH or the VNT15. So here we go. Yes! 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 Woo! Guys, thank you so much for watching. This video has been really drawn out, but I think we're on to something really good here. All right, until next time, take it easy.